Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Abdul Qudus, President of Edifiers Activism, and today we are live on another episode of Youth Awakening series. And for this, we have a very special guest from USA, and she's serving as a trainer, as an occupational therapist, and as a coach. And we will discuss about the mindfulness meditation. And hello, Kenny, how are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just incredibly honored and grateful to have opportunity to chat with you early this morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. And here is the good evening for Pakistani people.
It's like night and day. We're literally like different time zone across the world.
Yeah, that's so. We can start with your introduction, with a brief introduction of yours. Tell us about your life journey and your experiences, how you started this field, and how you experienced that field in a professional way.
So a little bit about me. I work primarily as an occupational therapist with the pediatric population. At a young age, I wasn't necessarily thinking and considering going to college. Typically, the paradigm that within my immediate family, the paradigm was that you go to school and then it's expected to, for the most part, to get married and have children. And college wasn't really introduced. Neither of my parents went to college, and I have two older brothers, and none of my brothers went to college either. So there wasn't really in my immediate home environment this direct role model. However, my extended family, my aunts and my uncles, they all have gone pretty much all to college, and primarily most of those extended family members are pharmacists. So, but I grew up directly in the vicinity of them. However, it wasn't something that I really considered until I was about like 14 or 15 years old. The paradigm, like I said, that I grew up, I considered myself, let's say, getting married in my late teenage years, early 20s, having a family, having children, maybe opening up some type of like babysitting, because I knew that I wanted to work with children. And I was thinking like I can open up my own play group, my own babysitting, because I adore children. And that's ultimately ended up choosing to work in occupational therapy with pediatrics. When I was about 14, 15 years old, there was a big shift in paradigm. I went from being in school and always loving learning, but not really doing very well. I think I've had a little bit of learning trickinesses that wasn't addressed, and I learned how to address it primarily on my own. And I realized like I really love learning and I want to continue. What exactly do I want to do? I don't know, but I went to a very academic high school, and I loved the learning part, but when it came to the actual grades, I didn't do very well. And then I didn't really study. I didn't really care to put in the effort. I loved sitting and learning, but I didn't really care to go more than that. And once I started curing, I think I was about like 15 years old, I started really putting my head to the books and studying and learning. And then I started to realize like I really like this learning opportunity and this experience. So what can I do to maybe potentially go to college? And my grades went from not that great to pretty high, and it was pretty competitive because the programs in the schools that I was interested in, I kind of needed the degree. So I was able to realize that when I put my effort into something that I can do anything I set my mind to. So at 17 years old, I was in undergrad, and I just started college. I think it was in my second year of college. And I was working with this little girl who has Down syndrome, and I had opportunity. One of my roles was a rehab worker, and I would take her to occupational therapy, to physical therapy, and I would take her to speech therapy as well. And having the opportunity to see the different disciplines and having conversations with the different providers, I was like, I really like occupational therapy. And originally I was considering nursing, and I was like, I'd rather do occupational therapy. I just felt like with the timing and with the scheduling and the programming and the schooling and everything, and I was like, how can I be a service of others? And I got very interested. I got the prerequisites, and I ended up graduating when I think turned 22, and I got my master's in occupational therapy. And over the years, I had opportunity. I think I was just 23 at the time, where I started speaking and giving talks primarily within occupational therapy about like sensory processing. And I got a lot of positive feedback, and people were saying, would you ever consider teaching? Would you ever consider speaking about occupational therapy or about things that you're passionate about? Like, they're like, something that you did really like drew us in. And it was one of the directors. She's been a director of a program for 30 plus years, and she said she's seen like thousands and thousands of speakers, and she's like, would you ever consider like making a career out of like speaking, whether it's OT or whether it's something else you have an interest? She's like, you really have a knack for it. And she's like, continue. And at that point, I was 23. I wasn't like too keen about it. I was like, I was very critical of myself. I thought like, I didn't think I did a really great job with it. I was like, I wish I would have said X or Y or would have did this. And I stumbled when I said, or I didn't say everything to the T. And even in the get-go, when I would do more speaking engagements, I see the tendency of being really self-critical. So I had the realization of like this person saying it. And a year or two later, I had opportunity to teach at university, and then people were mentioning again, did you ever consider like doing something speaking? And I was like, I don't know, I'm not really sure. So it went from me doing occupational therapy, being in service of others, and then me doing speaking engagements just really because of educational purposes and just to put out occupational therapy skills. And then people were just, it was kind of like leading to this domino effect where then I started teaching at university, and then I got requested to speak at a really big conference this past year to 400 plus people. And then things kind of just evolved over the years where being of service of others, and I'm feeling like a big passion is speaking and education for people that are interested. And I've had opportunity over the years to speak all over the world, mindfulness meditation, occupational therapy, and in relation to self-help skills. And over the past few months, I've had opportunity to speak, and it really started from just going to college, being in service, then speaking, and then slowly building this projection or these different steps to cultivate and to get to this point. And collectively, with the things that I do, it ultimately is all the intention of service of others. How can I be of service? How can I be a vessel to people that are interested to help individuals be maybe more empowered, more inspired, whatever it may be? And that's really the intention. And I teach mindfulness meditation. I teach at university 2 courses in occupational therapy during the fall semester, and I speak all over the world, as well as provide one-on-one sessions with clients and family, and coaching to parents and adults as well.
That's very impressive. That's very impressive. That's great. You are doing a great things at a time. And what challenges you face the most in that era and that period?
I'm sorry, if you can please repeat the question. I was having a little
Yeah.
trouble hearing.
Okay. I'm saying that what challenges you face the most in that life and that period?
So what changes? So I've had a lot of transitions and a lot of changes. I've had a lot of childhood experiences that really catapulted, and I really pushed it away as a young adult and as a late teenager. And over the past few years, I've really had to dig and sit and be with it. And I've had opportunity to read about it, to work with mentors about it, and to do a lot of different things. And that really catapulted. So if you would have met me, let's say 5, maybe 10 years ago, this shy, quiet, timid person. Like I was late teenage years, like afraid of my own shadow. Like I wouldn't be talking or having conversations. I would be having so much to say and so much to like speak, but yet I would be the one in like the corner, kind of like not really saying or not doing much. And that I never really, until the past few years, perceived myself as this like confident and very well-rounded individual. And it's really this 360 of really stepping into my power and stepping into my confidence. And one of the key things was having supported mentors and supported friends and supported some individuals in my family as well. And that was the key to really help with the catapult, because I went a 360 person, like from being so quiet, so shy, so not having conversation, to really speaking my truth as best as I can, being in my power, and just speaking to hundreds and thousands of people over the past few years has just really transformed, especially my confidence, my self-worth. Still have a little bit of trickiness with my own self-judgment and being very like critical with certain things, but it's really gotten a lot better. And it's all about me learning. And I've learned over the years to cultivate this love and this kindness, that when I'm speaking, that exactly what I'm meant to say will come into fruition. If I'm not meant to say it, it will not come up. And if it doesn't come up, that's okay, because it's not meant. And when I'm speaking, if I'm like stumbling, or if I'm not speaking as clear as I feel like I should have or I need to, that's okay, because in that moment, that's exactly how I was meant to do it. And a lot of the times I've had people recommend or say, do you ever watch any of your videos? Like, you were speaking and you did all these engagements over the years. Have you ever actually watched the recordings or the videos? And my answer is 90% of the time, no, because I'm constantly changing and transforming. And I know for myself what I want to work on and what are my areas of strength and what are my areas of challenges. And it's ultimately the video that we're doing now, or any video that I pretty much do with anyone. I'm not really going back. Why? Because it was in this moment, it was to the T how it was meant to be. And the next moment, we're all constantly learning and growing and evolving. So it's like, ultimately, like, there's not necessarily a point really to be watching it. Okay, it is what it is. It happens. Because when it comes down to it, if just in generally speaking, that when we're having thinkings of, I wish things would have gone this way, or things should have been like this, or whatever it may be, that's recipe for depression. That's recipe for sadness. Why? Because it is focused in on the past. And then if we're thinking about for future and how am I going to prepare for the interview, or for schoolwork, or for lesson planning, or whatever it may be, that's anticipation. And that's recipe for cultivating anxiety. So it's the realization of right here, right now, present moment, I'm here with my full attention having this interview with you. And it's like, why go back afterwards if I know that this is right here, right now, and life is transforming and everything's evolving. So it's the idea is, when doing any interviews or doing anything, yes, you need to go to a certain degree. Maybe you're going to get critiques on certain things, but it's the realization that the critique was meant for that moment in time. It's not meant to generalize for the rest of moments in time. It's the realization it's right here, right now, this moment in time.
That's a great transformation, I can say. And you face a lot of trouble and you overcome that. That's great. So let's move forward to our today's topic, and that is the mindfulness meditation. So how can you define that term in your words?
So I would define mindfulness meditation as paying attention to the present moment as best as you can, and being non-judgmental with it. Because we can have a tendency with the moments like, oh, this is a good moment because I'm feeling happy. This is a bad moment because I'm feeling sad. But ultimately, all moments are neutral. No, there's no really good or bad moments. There may be feelings of uncomfortableness or comfortableness. Let's say for sadness, there might be more of association of feeling uncomfortable. For happiness, there might be an association of feeling more comfortable. But ultimately, it's not good or bad. It's ultimately all neutral. So it's the realization each and every moment coming into it with neutrality as best as you're able to, not judgment of labeling. This is good, this is bad. It's neutral. This is how it is in this moment. Maybe it'll be like this for 2 moments, for 5 moments, for 10 moments, whatever it may be. And it can be with thoughts or with feelings or with experiences or situations as well.
Okay. So if a person is suffering from a stress, how can he overcome that with the meditation?
So I would say it's the realization that the person is feeling that I am feeling stressed in this moment right here, right now. And it's deconstructing what is causing the stress. And it's the realization, maybe I'm having too much on my plate. Maybe there's something that's happening with my friends or with my family. Maybe there's something happening with work. It's the realization, what is causing that stressor? And the idea is, the intention, let's say with the meditation, is sitting with the uncomfortable, sitting with the stress, allowing, coming home. When you're able to sit with the feeling of feeling stressed, then it can result in maybe more clarity, maybe more focus, maybe more attentiveness. But it's not really getting attached to the idea of it, but it's really taking that step back. What is causing my stress? How can I deconstruct? What is in my hands? What can I control and what can I not control? And how can I decipher and what can I do? Maybe there's too much on my plate. Maybe I need some support. Maybe I need to develop new skills, whatever it may be. It's the realization, what is that stress in that moment? You can use a meditation as sitting, not to eliminate or to get rid of, just to further just sit with that and breathe into it. And that ultimately can help with reducing stress. And it can help even with more of clarity on if a person's not exactly sure where the stress is coming from.
Okay, so what type of techniques of meditation we can apply on ourselves at home?
So the type of meditation that I practice is called Vipassana Meditation, which is insight meditation. And the idea is just sitting, ideally upright position, feet flat on the floor, arms gently on your side, and your arms either open, ideally in this position, like an upright, or it can be downright. It doesn't really matter, as long as the body, we don't want it really to be crossed. And the idea is noticing your breath as it enters and leaves your nostril, the cool and the warmth of your breath, or noticing your breath as it enters and leaves your chest or your belly area. and it's sitting, let's say, ideally 15 minutes every day, consistently the same time every day. However, realistically speaking, people may not be able to do that. So ideally sitting maybe 2 minutes, especially for people that are just starting a practice, sitting for 2 minutes a day, maybe setting a timer and gently noticing your breath, closing your eyes, noticing your breath. Every time there's a thought, noticing the thought, and as best as you can, back onto the breath. Every time there's a feeling, noticing it, acknowledging it, not pushing it away, back onto the breath. And that's the type of meditation that I practice.
Okay, that's very good. I can say that all the people should try this at home. So, how the meditation influence our physical health or mental health?
So research, there's actually a lot of research. And prior to this, I wanted to actually find out about more research and more studies of it. And there's so many. And one thing that comes to mind, so mindfulness meditation can help with improvement of job performance. It can help with improvement of depression, anxiety, and stress. It can help with pain modulation, and especially linked with cognitive control, emotional regulation, acceptance. It can help with increased immune function. It can help with decrease of blood pressure, decrease of heart rate. It can help enhance mental health. It can help enhance academic achievement, because mindfulness meditation can help with focus and with attention. And ultimately, within all of these different things, and research shows that there's a concept called neuroplasticity. And what is neuroplasticity? It's the belief, and scientists realize that this is actually true, that the brain can actually transform. It's almost like a sponge, and through meditation, there can be rewiring and reprogramming in specific areas in the brain. I think the research shows that there can be changes in the amygdala, and the amygdala is responsible for emotional reaction, and that can be one of the trigger centers of the flight or flight, which is activated by the sympathetic nervous system. And mindfulness meditation can actually help reduce the reaction with it, and it can help cultivate changes in neuroconnectivity and neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity it works hand in hand with another concept called neurogenesis. And neurogenesis is the release and the creation of new neurons, and it's production of new neurons. And neurons are very important for everything and anything that we're doing in our life. And neurogenesis can happen when individuals are less stressed, because when we're stressed, there's the release of cortisol, and cortisol can activate a lot of physiological responses within our body. And when we're having neurogenesis, the stress level needs to be low, and that can help promote more neuroconnectivity, which can help with more of the neuroplasticity, which can help to promote more changes within the brain, and it can help to promote more present moment awareness. And when individuals are able to cultivate present moment awareness, it can catapult in really, I think, every area and anything and everything that you do, from going to the bathroom in the morning to getting dressed to working with clients to researching to being in school. It can really catapult in everything and anything that you do. And it goes back to, and I wonder if I can reverse. Is there a way to reverse the screen?
No, it's going great. You can continue.
But meaning I want to reverse the screen because I want to show you something about how mindfulness can really help with stress. Is there a way to do that?
I don't know exactly.
I don't know if there is. Maybe I'll just do it like this. So I apologize if you can see my work. So the idea is that mindfulness, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So the idea is, let's say with mindfulness meditation, let's say an individual is feeling like they're having a lot of stress. So I would say, let's say first they're starting off with feeling really stressed. And then they're going into some type of mindfulness meditation practice. There's a reduction in anxiety. They're feeling a little bit more calm and then a little bit more collective. I don't know what you can see. Maybe I'm just going to unreverse it. I'll just say what's there. I hope
we can see.
You were able to see it? Okay.
Yeah.
So then the idea is, so the individual is having a reduction in anxiety. Reduction in anxiety can help with the better integration of emotions. Then there can maybe, if the individual is experiencing pain, there can be a release of physical, emotional, mental pain. And then ultimately, which can result in calm a calmer body, and a calmer body can result in reduction of stress. Reduction of stress can result in reduction of anxiety. Reduction of anxiety can result in integration of emotion. Result of integration of emotion can help release a physical pain. And as you can see, it's this cycle with this mindfulness meditation that one thing is leading to another, and it's this revolving cycle. And if it's constantly practiced, it just constantly helps anxiety and stress and pain, and it's the calm body. Why the calm body? When you're in a more calm state, then your body's able to be more relaxed, and when your body's able to be more relaxed, then you're able to maybe better integrate your emotions, and you're better able to, so it's like this whole cycle that comes into place, and it's physically and emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, financially, educationally, it can really have an impact on all of that.
Okay. So the psychologists here in Pakistan suggest us to offer prayer, and that's a good meditation in their opinion. So you believe in that spirituality and your and the religious thoughts can
So
influence the
I
meditation, and it's
I
yeah.
personally, and based on my opinion and based on my readings and based on some of the teachers that I work with, I think prayer, there's a big difference between prayer and meditation. Prayer is seeking externally a God, whether it's Allah or Buddha or whatever individual may believe. It's seeking externally. It's something that I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't really do it, so I'm going to use prayer as opportunity to be helped. At the same time, meditation is really, I think, almost the complete opposite. It's about going inside and going internally. It's about I'm coming home to myself, and I'm coming up, because ultimately we all have the wisdom within. So it's really going within, coming home. Am I going to get more clarity, more insight? So that's really the big difference of it. I think having a prayer practice and having religious practice, whether individuals do or whether individuals are atheists or Jewish or Muslim or Hindu or whatever it may be, if that's individuals are feeling that's something that they're full-heartedly passionate and they're loving 100%, beautiful, amazing. At the same time, using prayer, I would say maybe as it's more of a mindfulness practice, I would say, than a meditation practice. And then in addition to having the prayer practice, having a meditation practice is very different, because the idea is I'm just focusing in on me and myself, and I'm not relying on my friends or my family. I'm coming home to myself, and coming home to myself through the breath and through breathing, and through the breath and through breathing, and cultivating space within myself, and then ultimately this space can be radiated into my everyday life. And it's the way to truly be able to be mindful and have present awareness is through meditation.
Okay, there's a question from the audience, and Hina Sharif is asking that are neurogenesis and anxiety, stress, and depression can be completely resolved by meditation?
It depends on the individual. I'm not going to say this based on research and based on studies, based on my experiences. So neurogenesis is, again, it's the birth of new neurons in the brain. In order for new neurons to be able to be rebirthed, meditation can be a way to help with that, because meditation shows that it helps with neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity helps with rewiring in the brain and reprogramming, retraining. So it depends on the individual and what the level of the anxiety and the depression and the stress. Ultimately, that's really depending. Is it something that's clinical? Is it something that an individual may need to have medication or be on for? If it's maybe an individual is experiencing stress or anxiety or a little bit sadness, it's very different than if an individual is clinical. So if they're clinical, research shows that meditation can help. And to the degree of the neurogenesis of with individuals that are clinical, I am not 100% sure. However, collectively, based on my understanding, it can help with anxiety, it can help with depression, and it can definitely help with stress as well. So it's the realization of where the individual is at. And it's not to say if an individual is on medication to like not take the medication and meditation is going to be an end all. Absolutely not. It's where the individual is at, and meditation can really help enhance if the individual is on medication or if the individual is experiencing clinical depression or in clinical anxiety or whatever it may be. So it's the realization of that. But there is studies that it can help with neuroplasticity, and it can help with reducing anxiety and stress and love and kindness and compassion. So it's the realization of individually also to determine, because yes, these research are looking collectively at things, and then it's really looking at the person individually. What are they experiencing too?
Okay, you shared the one type of meditation here, and you practice as always. So there's a lot more ways of meditation. Can you share some more?
Sure. So there are other forms of meditation. I personally really primarily only practice Vipassana. However, I have practiced chakra meditation. I'm not really trained in chakra meditation. However, chakra meditation, there are 7 key meridian points that are energy centers within our body, and that activating those centers can be used as a form of meditation. So what are the 7 areas? There's the root chakra, which is located at the base of the spine. There's the sacral chakra, which is located above the spleen. There's the solar plexus chakra, which is located above the navel. There's the heart chakra, which is located by the chest area. There's the throat chakra, which is located by the throat area. There's the third eye chakra, which is located right over here. There's the crown chakra, which is located right above the skull. And each of the chakras are linked with different colors, and each of the chakras are linked with activation of different areas in the body. So let's say, for example, the throat chakra has a lot to do with self-expression and communication. The root chakra has a lot to do with groundedness. So there are meditations where they actually go through all the different chakras as opportunity to like release or to be, and to use that chakra to help cultivate being more mindful in the moment. So that's a type of chakra meditation. There are also visual meditations where there's imagery meditations. I personally don't really perceive it as meditation. Why? Because you're looking at somewhere else. You're going somewhere else. So there might be a visualization of a meditation going to the beach and going to a fancy island somewhere. So it's like you're thinking about being at that island, but ultimately meditation is about being in the present moment. So how are you in the present moment if you're thinking about a vision or something that's not in the present moment? And if you're creating something in that moment, because your thought, how can your thinking be in the present moment if you're imagining something that's not really there? So I'm not such a big fan of visual meditation. There's also mantra meditation, is which you're saying a word, a chant, or a phrase over and over and over again. And it's a big component of transcendental meditation, where you're sitting, you're focusing in on the breath, and you're saying certain words or phrases over and over again, and typically for about 30 minutes. Trying to think. These are the meditations that there's so many other meditations, but the idea is ultimately with any of these meditation, and it's the realization. What I practice and focus is Vipassana, and it's the breath as an anchor and as a ground. The breath in the moment when I am sitting, closing my eyes, I'm noticing my busy mind, my monkey mind, and I'm going to redirect back onto the breath, my nostrils, my chest, or my belly. That's the Vipassana meditation that I primarily practice.
Okay, so many people used to do yoga on a daily basis, and many people do the laughing therapy. So, are these the types of meditation?
Yoga can have components of meditation in there. Laughter therapy, I would say maybe it's more of a mindfulness practice. It's more of a practice to be in the present moment. And there's a big difference between yoga and meditation. Like I said, yoga can have a component of meditation where the instructor is telling, let's say the individuals were laying down, and now we're going to focus in on breath, and we're going to meditate for a minute or two. Because the big difference between yoga and meditation, yoga is typically breathing into to different movements and different motions, and meditation is really just I'm sitting with myself, and as best as I can, I'm not really cultivating any type of movement.
Okay. So, as we are the students in Pakistan, we face the issues of focus. We can't focus on the things we have to. So, is meditation helps us to focus on the things which is important to us?
Yeah, so meditation can help with focusing on things that's important to you, because meditation, and through practice you can get more clarity and more insight, because when you're having awareness of yourself and you're able to come home to yourself, ultimately it can catapult with your ability to do everything and anything that you're doing. So it definitely can help. And for individuals that want to achieve goals and they have certain mindsets, something that I like to do, not necessarily as my meditation practice, but maybe prior, after, and I do this with my clients also, is a SMART goal. And a SMART goal stands for, it's SMART, and S is creating a goal that is very specific. M is creating a goal that's very measurable. A is creating a goal that's achievable. R is creating a goal that's realistic. And T is creating a goal that's timely. And this is a great way to use this outline to create a goal. Maybe there's a goal to go back to school and go to college. Maybe there's a goal to write a book. Maybe there's a goal to be a better parent. Maybe there's a goal to be a better daughter, whatever it may be. And you can have opportunity to create a goal within this outline and within that format. And maybe the goal is to cultivate a mindfulness meditation practice, and you can use that SMART format to do that as well.
Okay. So, is there any variation of meditation techniques? As we can say that many people suffering from stress and many people suffering from severe depression, and some of people have the suicidal thoughts. Is there any variation for them to use the meditation techniques?
So I would say, first off, for individuals that are experiencing anxiety and depression, and if it's like clinical, or even if it's not, but it's the point where it's impeding on their function and their ability to interact with themselves and with other people, and individuals that are having suicidal idealization or suicidal actual plans and implementation, reaching out to a professional, I would say, is key. Mentor someone that is trained as a psychologist, a social worker, a psychologist, social worker, maybe even a psychiatrist, and realizing that, yes, so I have, let's say, a life coaching certification and I'm occupational therapist, and realizing that certain things are out of my training. And it's the realization that when individuals are experiencing mental health concerns, like if it's really impeding on their function, then it's reaching out to a licensed provider that is trained. I think that is key. And the provider may recommend a mindfulness or a meditation practice, and they may teach them in different ways or different ideas or different suggestions that can better help and meet their needs. The type of meditation that the Vipassana meditation, the idea is anyone can do it. However, if individuals are experiencing anxiety or stress and it's clinical, it can actually expedite and it can actually make the symptoms worse. So really working hand with a licensed and trained professional, or even a trained mindfulness meditation teacher, is very, very key for individuals that are really having challenges in their life.
Okay. So the thing is, many people start meditation techniques in their life, but they lose focus, as we can say. So how can we adopt these techniques, and how can we make it as a daily life routine?
So in order for something it takes 30 days for anything to become a habit. And the idea is consistency. And the idea is, and this is something I think I might regroup this and re-say this in a different way, but recently Dr. Shafali Tabari, she did a meditation class, and she was talking about, imagine if you never ate a mango. How can you describe the taste to someone else that never had it before? Like, how can you really know what this mango tastes like? You don't, and you can't, right? And it's, once you actually try it, it's the realization, this is really sweet and it has this really good flavor and it's so yummy, and I love the texture and I love the color. And to really experience that mango, you need to actually try it, right? So the idea is, with meditation, to really truly experience it, you need to try it. And you're not going to just eat the mango once or twice, you're going to eat it over and over, especially if you're liking it, right? So the idea is, with meditation, if you can do it over and over again, and you can experience freedom and clarity and non-judgment and more love and more kindness beyond the degree of how similarly, just as if you wouldn't have ever eaten the mango. So that's what meditation can do. So going back to the idea is, what's the driving force? Why do I want to do meditation? Is it for my stress? Is it for my anxiety? Is it for school? And it's going back to that driving force when you're cultivating that practice. And the key is consistency. So every morning, every day, ideally, you can create a time for you, morning, afternoon, or night. When is the time where I can cultivate 15 minutes of just sitting and just breathing and being on the breath? And you think about your own schedule. Ideally, maybe for me personally, it's usually the morning. Right after I get out of bed, I'll go take care of my basic hygiene. Then I'll go sit on my chair and I'll ideally try to meditate 15 minutes every day, same location, same space. And I do that. If you do that 30 days, 60 days, 80 days, and ultimately it becomes a practice, and you're going to see the times that you're not meditating, you're going to feel the difference, and versus the time that you do. And research shows that you can have an experience of a change in the brain about 8 to 12 weeks. There can actually be rewiring and re-changes in the brain, and it can help with everything and anything. It's also the realization not to attach the idea that meditation is going to help me be more mindful or more calm or more collective. It's not really that. It's really meditation will allow me to not get caught up. I'll experiencing stress, and I'll experience anxiety, and I'll experience sadness and upset and pain and hurt 100%. That's just by being human. But you're able to learn to be the observer and not get caught up. You'll still get caught up, maybe a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. And it's building that muscle over 30 days and then over 60 days. And the idea for people that are just starting out, consistently, a timer, 2 minutes for the next week, a timer the next week, 5 minutes, gradually increasing, and ideally 15 to 30 minutes every day, maybe 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. And that's the suggestion and the recommendation to help with that. And going back to creating a SMART goal potentially with it, and potentially also, why am I doing this? And that can really help the individual maintain the practice.
Okay, let's have some questions from the audience. So, Sundar Rajput is saying that first, the most stressful situation the community faced at work so far. How do all handle it? How do we prevent a situation from getting too stressed to manage?
So, very great question. So, if the idea is first, the realization is having awareness that I'm experiencing and that I'm feeling stressed. That's number one. And then it's the realization, okay, at work, I'm getting stressed. So what at work is making me feel stressed out? Is it my boss? Is it my coworkers? Maybe it's neither of individuals. Maybe it's my amount of work that I need to do. Maybe it's my time management that's coming into play and I'm having difficulty balancing my time. What is coming into play when you're experiencing stress? That's number one. Number two is the realization, within my life, am I having opportunity for self-care? Am I making sure to take care of myself? Am I giving myself a mindfulness practice? Am I making sure to eat right? Am I sleeping enough? That's also things and questions that's coming into play. So when it comes to with stress, and it's the realization, if other people in the environment are experiencing stress, it's a realization their stress is their stress and I have my own stress. And it's the realization that I don't have to be, just because they're stressed doesn't mean I have to be feeling stressed as well. And I can control, or I can be with my stress. The only person and the only stress that I can manage is myself. And how can I manage that? And it's, again, realization of what is causing the stress. So I'm having the awareness that I'm stressed out. What is the cause? What's the cause of it? And what are things that I can do to potentially reduce the stress? Maybe it's delegating different tasks to my coworkers. Maybe it's having conversation with my boss that this is too much work right now. Maybe it is working less hours or needing to work more hours. Maybe what's being stressful is I'm not getting paid enough. Maybe it's having conversation about increased pay. So whatever is coming up with in relation to the stress is taking that step back. Okay, I'm feeling stressed. What is causing that? How can I work with my own stress rather than if other people are experiencing the stress? It's acknowledging, okay, they're experiencing stress, but I'm going to work on my own stress because other people's stress is out of my hands. I only really control and can work on my own stress and my own anxieties. And maybe I can cultivate a meditation practice. Maybe I'm going to have a conversation with a coach or with a mentor. Maybe I'm going to read a book. Maybe I'm going to watch a YouTube video. Maybe I'm going to go on a walk. What are ways that you can work with your own stress? What are things that can work individually for the person? Maybe it's reading, it's writing, it's jumping, it's jogging, it's running, is conversations, whatever it may be. And those are different ways to help with stress management. And mindfulness meditation can be a way to help as well. If you're having that goal and that intention, a meditation practice can be solely for that and to help with that.
Okay. So there's one more question. Fatma Faruqi is asking that sometimes the challenges we face make us depressed. Can meditation help us to overcome it?
I love that question. So the challenge is not making you depressed. Your person is choosing to feel depressed based on the challenge. You have the option to control the direction of how you're feeling. So what do I mean by that? So let's say if an individual loses their job, and I know many people have, and it can be a touchy-feely subject. So I'm sending lots of love and kindness for people that are not able to work right now or that have lost their job. So I'm sending lots of love and kindness with that. So I'm going to kind of be to the direct and very to the T with this, and my intention is not to lessen the fact that people don't have jobs. What I'm about to say. So let's say, for example, an individual lost their job, and it can be viewed as a situation. I'm sad. I'm really upset. I'm really frustrated. I'm really hurt. Like, okay, like I'm really upset about it. No doubt. Like that's the typical reaction, the typical response, right? But how about a person loses their job, and it's like, now there's opportunity for me to take that step back and to regroup my career, regroup my profession, regroup my skills. And maybe I don't even want this type of job anymore. Maybe I want to create my own type of job, or maybe I'm going to look into a job in a different profession, a different field, or a different thing. And it's opportunity. How can now I have this new at a time to sit and be with myself, and maybe I'm going to learn a new skill. Maybe I'm going to be sad, upset, and mope, or maybe I'm going to acknowledge I'm upset and I'm sad. At the same time, though, I'm going to be proactive about it, and I'm going to think of other ideas and create it. And maybe because of losing the job, because I'm going to have opportunity to tap into my creativity, and I'm going to have opportunity to create this multi-million, billion-dollar company. If I wouldn't have lost my job, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So it's the idea with any situation. It's not the situation that is causing the stress or the anxiety. It's our reaction, our response to it. It's not to say that we're not going to experience stress and anxiety. It's the realization, okay, I'm feeling sad because of this challenge. Okay, so what was this challenge? What is it triggering? What is coming up? What emotion is there for me? And it's now, what can I do to kind of like take charge? I'm acknowledging, I'm not pushing my feelings away. I'm acknowledging, but I'm taking charge of whatever the challenge may be. How can I be proactive about it?
Okay. So, Kenny, how can we develop a positive attitude or a positive thinking with the help of meditation?
So it's the realization that with meditation that I'm not my thoughts and I'm not my feelings. Everything that I'm thinking and for the most part doing, it's all false and it's all a delusion. It's the realization that I am everything and nothing, and that we're all interconnected and we're all one. So the idea is the realization when you're sitting and when you're meditating, it's the realization I'm thinking, okay, but this is not really me, and it might be negative and very judgmental, and it's the realization, okay, I'm acknowledging that, and I'm breathing into it. I'm acknowledging and I'm breathing, and I could, maybe not during a meditation practice, but in everyday life when I'm trying to cultivate maybe being mindful, I'm having this negative thinking. How can I reframe and refocus on in another way and in a different way? So let's say, for example, I'm trying to think of an example. So let's say, for example, a person says that you're fat, ugly, and stupid, and your initial reaction is to feel hurt and to feel pain. But how about if you reframe that and refocus in on, I know that my thoughts are really non-existent. So what the person's saying is also, it's based on their thoughts, and their thoughts is not really existent either. So it's like, okay, they can say that, but like I don't necessarily have to internalize it and interpret. I can reframe and refocus. Okay, this is where the person's at. This is how the person's feeling, and that's okay. And now I'm going to take that step back, and do I even want to be around the person that's saying these things if I'm feeling really hurt and really upset? So it's the realization of that can help as well.
Okay. So there's one more question from the audience. Malaika Salim is asking that what are the impact of meditation on society? How do we learn to meditate?
So the big impact, and I think the Dalai Lama said, if every child learned to meditate, I think at the age of 8, the world will be more calm and more collective. And it's really, why is that? Because meditation is about coming home to oneself. It's about what are my triggers, what are my thoughts, what are my pain bodies, and you're learning about yourself. And the person that is key to help change the world is you and you and you, and it's every person for themselves. You want to change the world, change yourself. Change yourself, then you can have visions and missions and things, but work on developing skills of self-help and of reading and of writing, whatever it may be. Work on changing oneself and learning and growing and a lifelong teaching, lifelong learner. That's the opportunity. Going into things as a tabula rasa, which is a blank slate, as best as you can. Cultivating anything as best as you can, as novel and as new, and learning and growing from people that are young to old to in between, people that are black, white, it doesn't matter. Cultivating this life learning, lifelong perspective that can help. And meditation allows for the realization of this oneness, this interconnectedness, and how we're all striving for the same things. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be loved, we want to be acknowledged, we want power, we want acknowledgement, we want recognition, and we're all ultimately, wherever we are in the world, we're all striving for that. And meditation, and through cultivating a practice, and over time, that can be a realization, and you can feel it like within your skin. And when you're in service and helping other people, ultimately it's you're helping collectively, you're helping that one person, you're helping the world, you're helping that one person, you're helping society, you're helping the community. And it's just service and help, and whatever it may be for any individual, from doing meditation to speaking to whatever's catapulting and feeling innately within people. It's just transforming the world.
Okay, that's great. That will surely help her. So there's one more question, and the Hina Sharif is asking that, do meditation control the nerves of aggressive person?
The nerves again. So if a person's being very aggressive, meaning is that I'm not exactly sure with what the question, what's being asked. But in terms of, let's say, an individual that is acting out of anger or out of aggression, so where is typically anger stemming from? Is stemming from some impairment, some injustice, and some point where an individual is feeling that they're not being treated fairly. So it's the realization of that. And when individuals are reacting out of anger towards us, it's the realization of, I can take that step back, and I don't have to be catapulted with their anger. I can cultivate that pause and be non-reactive to that. And meditation can help people learn to be a little bit more non-reactive and to pause. And it's the same with ourselves. When we're experiencing anxiety and we're experiencing anger, or we're feeling aggressive towards other people, it's typically based on some type of trigger. So what is the trigger? Where is this coming from? And then it's the realization, maybe I can take that breath, maybe I can take that pause, maybe I can be non-reactive, maybe I'm going to go on a walk before I actually like explode onto the other person. And ultimately we can perceive anger as like the power system of a refrigerator. It's very, very, very powerful, right? And it's very, very strong. And we can learn to use that, the anger, as a superpower, and use that energy towards something else, or use that energy and watching it dissipate. So we can use that with if another person is coming to at us very charged, we can see, okay, on the breath, this person is experiencing anger. I'm going to allow for them to self-express. I'm seeing it. I'm going to cultivate, and I can cultivate non-reaction. I'm not going to get catapulted with their anger. Why? So that I can be there, so I can maybe be of service, or maybe I'm just going to get up and walk away. I have the option of listening and being with the person. If it's getting too much, I have the option of walking away, or I have the option of telling the person maybe to please stop, or I have the option of responding to the person. So I can be able to discern in that moment what is feeling right for me to, what is feeling the right reaction for me to respond to.
Okay. So is there any side effects of meditation?
Like in terms of positive or negative?
In a negative way, obviously.
In terms of negative way,
Yeah.
for individuals that are experiencing, I mentioned in I think more mid-interview, individuals that are experiencing trauma, it can have a severe negative impact. It can actually exacerbate PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. For individuals that are having suicidal thoughts or suicidal idealization, it can potentially exacerbate symptoms as well. For individuals that have experienced extreme trauma, it can exacerbate symptoms as well. So that's why working with a therapist and working with someone that's really trained in those areas is very, very important. It can also have a negative impact by, this is very extreme cases, but people really disconnecting and losing touch with reality and having the realization of what's real and what's not. That can be another side effect as well. So the realization is for people that are experiencing mental health concerns that are impeding on function, impeding on their ability to interact with themselves and with others, reaching out to a provider, because a meditation practice can have a very negative impact.
Okay, that's great. So, No Ijaz is asking that tell us some meditation techniques to control the stress. As we can say, the stress is a major issue which we are facing nowadays, and this pandemic hits us very hard, and all the things are happening. So, what can we do in a way of meditation to control the stress?
So the idea is really, meditation is not about controlling anything. The idea is allowing what's coming up and embodying what's coming up. So what do I mean by that?
Okay.
I want to give like a little bit of analogy. So I don't know if you're familiar with the whack-a-mole.
No, I'm not.
So a whack-a-mole is these little mole little people. It's usually like in these game arcades, and it's these little game people, like little moles that are within different holes. There's, let's say, 15 holes, and they're all placed within a hole. You put in, let's say, a quarter, the game starts, and the moles come up and down sporadically all over. And the idea is you hit one, and then another one comes up, and you hit one, and another one comes up, right? So,
Okay.
so you have an idea of what a whack-a-mole is?
Uh, you gave me some kind of idea of that. I will research it.
So the idea is it's like a kid's like little, like it's an arcade game. So the idea is that we have these whack-a-moles, right? We have all these little moles that we pop one, another one comes up. We pop one, we come another one. We pop one, another one comes up. So the idea is that with our emotions, and if we're experiencing stress or anxiety or sadness, if we're kind of like trying to control that anxiety or that stress, it's ultimately going to pop up somewhere else. And it's like, I'm going to control my stress right now, and I'm not going to be reactive, and I'm not
Okay.
going to yell. And then what happens? We're reactive and we yell. So the idea is not really about controlling. The idea is about embodying and breathing into it and allowing it. And the idea is with meditation, just breathing into, okay, I'm feeling stress, and I'm breathing into it. I'm feeling stress. I'm breathing into it. And then out of the meditation practice, I would say one of the key things that can help with stress is self-management, is self-care. And self-care, taking time for yourself, ideally every day, a half hour to an hour every day. What is it? Biking? Is it running? Is it reading? Is it having a conversation with a friend? And that is a way to help with stress management. And the idea is also meditation can help with reducing stress as well. So even cultivating 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm feeling really stressed in the moment, maybe I can go to the bathroom or go to my bedroom or go to another room and just focus in on my breath. Maybe I'm going to have a journal in hand before I'm doing the meditation to really map out what is causing stress, what are things that I can help, and what are things that I can do to help reduce. And the idea is not really about controlling, it's about allowing, because like the whack-a-mole, we're trying to hit one, we're hitting another, and they're all like popping up and catapulting. And it's the same thing that happens with our mind, with any emotion or with anything. So it's about embodying, allowing, not becoming, watching it, breathing into it. And it's something that can be practiced not even during meditation, during just every day, and you're getting triggered or you're upset or you're angry, you can just focus in on the breath. I'm becoming the watcher of my sadness. I am not the sadness, I am feeling sad in this moment. I'm watching, I'm breathing. And a very interesting fact, and I'm actually writing an adult book at this point for simple early journey for people that are starting out on this spiritual practice. And the idea is that, do you know how long an emotion lasts? Do you know what research says? How long does an emotion last? Do you know?
Yeah.
Emotion lasts for, we think it can last for like hours and hours, 90 seconds. That's how long emotions last in our body. And then it's like, okay, what do you mean, like, Chanie, I'm experiencing
Okay.
sadness for the past 5 days, and it's really, we're creating a charge onto it, and it's, we promote thinking and thought within it. But emotions, if you really can have the opportunity, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, watching that ebb and that flow of it, it can last for 90 seconds, a minute and a half. 90, is that a minute and a
Okay,
half?
got it.
60, 70, 80, 90. 90 seconds.
Yeah, 1 minute and a half.
Yeah, that's how long emotions can last. And it's we have the
Okay, okay.
tendency to cultivate labels onto how we're feeling. I'm feeling sad, and sad is a pretty big and charged emotion, and I have beliefs about it from my childhood, and it stays longer because in childhood maybe I was told I can't be sad, and now I'm feeling sad, and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling sad, and maybe I'm going to try to push it away, and then it just goes on and on and on. When, okay, I'm feeling sad. Why? Because my client canceled. I'm feeling sad because I didn't get as much schoolwork as I wanted to get done. I'm feeling sad because my child said whatever. Okay, I'm feeling it. I'm acknowledging. I'm feeling her, and ebbing and flowing. And 90 seconds of, if you're able to not attach the charge to it and be with it, it really can. And it can be. I'm pretty sure it might be the same with stress as well. I'm not 100% sure with stress though.
Okay, okay, okay. So, there's any kind of music we can use to listen in a meditation?
I think using music is a great training wheel. It's a great like starter. Sometimes during some of my meditations when I'm really like having some challenges, I'll use music. I think classical music are great. Typically music that don't have words, but there are some music that you could listen to that does have words, and you can like type in inspirational songs or inspirational music, and that also can go back to a great like stress management idea to help people that are experiencing a lot of stress.
Okay, that's great. So, there's a this is the 1 hour session and 4 minutes left. So, I'm so thankful to you that you joined us in a session and you shared your valuable views and your knowledge to help the people to cope up with the things they are facing in these days. And I thought this will really help her or help him who they are watching. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you will join us in a future for more sessions like this, and you talk on a more topics like this.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Kenny. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Thank you. It's been an incredible honor and privilege, and I would be honored to come back again. For people that are interested in reaching out, feel free to find me on Facebook. My name is listed below. I do have a Facebook page, which is being developed, but people still can start liking the page. It's Chanie Messinger, and it's Chanie Messinger, and I'm on Instagram again. The same
Okay, I will
fantastic.
mention you in the caption so the
Yes,
people will reach you.
yes, and I have a website with my name as well. It's really been incredibly honored and privileged, and I'm about to
That's
publish
great. That's great.
my first children book as well. And if people are interested, feel
Thank you
free to
so
find
much.
out
Thank you
more.
so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, people. Allah Hafiz. Stay blessed and keep supporting us.